This is part 2 Photoshop edit of baby August. So I've culled the images down to about 20 now. A couple of them were not in focus. Now I'll just walk you through and talk you through how I'd edit these pictures. His skin is excellent, so really doesn't need too much work, just a little bit of red removal and that's it. Okay, so this is the first one. The first thing I would do is select the healing tool, and just click on these little ones there. Oops, that didn't work very well. Just make the brush smaller. Okay. Then I would go to the Actions panel and I would click on Complete Baby Quick Fix. And all of these layers will appear. The first one I'll go to Soften Skin. I normally do it at 100% opacity, but his skin is excellent, so I'm just going to take it down to about 50%. And then with the brush quite big to start with, and make sure the white is selected, I will just go over like this. Just avoid his eyes. You don't want to touch this area here. And then under his nose. And then down here. That's it. Next one I would use is Reduce the Reds. This will be at 100%. And I'd go over his head. These little bits of his cheeks, definitely over his eyes, over his nose, under his chin, his arms, and his little bum and leg. Alright, and then that was it. That's all I do there. So flatten image. The only other thing I do is just reduce these yellows and reds here. So I will go into the adjustments and select hue and saturation, then select the res. So now another a mask layer has been created. So I'll select the reds here, and then I'm going to reduce the saturation on that to about -16, and then I'm going to go into the yellows and reduce the saturation on that as well by -30. Now obviously I don't want to affect the whole baby, so I'm going to click on this layer mask here and then Command I to invert it, and make sure the white is selected at 100%, and now I'm just going to go around the outside here. Yeah, that's it really. Okay. This part is still a little bit red, so you can click on the Complete Baby Quick Fix, but I've just got a separate one, and which is Reduce the Reds there. And then just going to go over this bit here, and these maybe his little fingers, a little bit of his eye. Sometimes you do need to run it twice. Okay, right, that's it. Right, let's have a look at before and after. This is before and after. So the next thing, or the last thing that I will do, is check my levels. And so I will hold down the Command and the I button. Oh, no, not like that. Sorry, Command L. And I will take, this is the dark end, this is the bright end, this is the dark end. So I'm just going to brighten it by that much. And maybe just bring in the darks a bit there. Okay, one other one that I do like, which I nearly forgot about, is add depth. So I'm going to try this. So you have got this one, so I'm going to click play, and then with a really big brush just go over like this. So now I just have to decide whether I like it with or without. Yep, I like it with. So flatten, and then crop. Make sure that you select, but after you've selected the cropped, or select front image, so that when you crop in, although you're making this part bigger, it will still say at the size you exported it out, for me, which is 14 inches. So I'm just going to get the corner and come in closer. Right, and that's it. So file save, make sure this is on quality 12 and click OK. So I will do exactly the same thing here. %, and go over cheeks, down the nose. So flatten that. Now I'm going to duplicate the layer and I'm going to go into Liquify. Using the pushy tool, I'm not quite sure what it's called. I'm just going to push this hat in so it's snug on his face. And I'm going to use this one, which squeezes everything in. And the last thing, I'm going to go back to this tool and just bring this down just a little bit. Oops. And so preview before and after, and click OK. Yep, flatten. I'm just going to go in close here, select the healing tool, and I'm just going to remove these little specks of either milk or skin. Alright. I don't remove the milk spots, it's part of the baby, I think. Right, and that is it. So far, let's have a look before and after. Duplicate the layer, Command L for my levels, select the eraser tool and just erase it off the backdrop and any other area you think is too bright. Okay, and that's it. Make sure I haven't missed anywhere. And then flatten. To duplicate the layer, go back into Liquify, filter, Liquify. And there's this clever little face tool, which means that I can, oops, not that one. I can just, hopefully, just pull the face over just a little bit. So let's have a look at before and after. Okay. And flatten, file save. I'm going to use the crop tool again, make sure it's on front image so it doesn't affect the size. I'm just going to rotate it around just a little bit more. Okay. These look so pretty. When you use 1.8 and you tie the tassels and curl it like this, it just looks so pretty. Right, so this is before and after. And then okay. And flatten. And then add depth. 100%. Just over his face. Flatten that. Command L. And then file save. That's it. That's there's this one too, the squidgy one, so we can take them in here. Like that, and also I'm going to push this curly blanket in a bit. So it's just a bit too wide, just needs a bit of straightening up. Okay, and then his face is wonky, so even that's just helped a little bit. And then just going to do his nose a touch. And just going to bring this hat over. And down. You can also go into the face tool and bring this part down as well. So let's have a look at before and after. Alright, I'm going to do this one, and I'm just going to bring this down a little bit here. And then I'm just going to move it all over to the right. Like that. Alright, I will try the twisty tool. Right, let's have a look, before and after. Alright, let's go with that. Okay. And then flatten. I'm going to duplicate the layer. Oh. Going to select this bottom section here, and I'm going to Command C, Command V to copy that section. So now it's here, and now I'm going to push it up. Okay, just make that bottom part of the bed sort of disappear a little bit. It was quite long. Now we were messing a bit under here, so I would just use the patch tool like that, and then I will use the crop tool, make sure it's on front image, and then zoom it up like that. And then if we want to increase the size around the baby of the woods, do content aware, and then see how it does. there's quite a lot going on with that backdrop, so, or the floor drop, so we'll see what it does. Not too bad. Just here, it's a bit dodgy. So for that area, I would probably use the clone tool at 100%. I'm going to duplicate the layer just in case I make a mistake, and then Alt to select a sample area, and then I will just go over like this. So I think I have to have a look and see what it was like before. Okay. I don't know what it was like before. Alright, let's keep going. So it's not looking great. I'm just going to leave it. Okay, then we can go in here and see his little face. And whoops. Complete baby quick fix. Soft skin, down a bit to about 80% around there. Go over, down his cheeks. Same old, same old. Just go over his little finger there. Then reduce the reds 100%. Just remember to, well, I mean, it comes down to personal preference, but I like to leave the cheeks as they are. And I'm not going to do warm the skin tone, and I'm not going to do anything else there. I'm just going to add some depth. I'm just going to actually zoom in here and see if there's anything, nope, I need to remove. Add some depth, which is here, 100%, yep. That's great. I will use my deep blotch. Just to blend that little area in there. It's quite good for using it on other areas as well, like this. Right, and flatten. Zoom out so we can see what's going on. Multiply the layer, Command L, and there we go. And flatten and file save. Alright, this one's a bit on the wonky side. I'm not quite sure what I'll do with this one. Right, duplicate. I'm going to do the liquefying first, see if I can make anything of this picture. Alright, so this icon, they're moving it around one. I have to find out the names of them, won't I? What does it say? I thought it did, you know. Right, anyway. Okay. Oops. So just going to bring that down, make it look a bit more round, and then I'm going to use the squidgy-in tool. Got to get rid of this bottom bit here. Oops. Okay. Just correct it a little bit. Just going to squidgy that in a touch. And then I'm just going to move this around a bit so it's up there. So it's facing the same way as the baby. Okay. I think that is it. And then just sort this little head out. Or my bunny's out, shall I say. have a look at before and after. I think that looks quite a bit better. And then click OK. Then we're going to flatten that. And we can do the same things what we did before. So duplicate the layer, select this one, which I think is the marquee tool, the square one, and then we're going to just select the bottom third of the picture, Command C, Command V to duplicate, and then just squidge it up, click enter, flatten image, click that. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to just pull that in because this could be a 10 by 8 size rather than having it really long. So I'm going to do ratio, and I'm just going to lift that up to where we moved it from. So here and here. Alright, go back to front image. And that's it. Right, so now we'll go back in and action. Play. Make sure we are on the soft skin mask. Is that down to about 78? It's literally just got dark by the time I've been doing the editing. I'm actually in, it's actually pitch black in my room, in my study. Right, tiny bit here, and then reduce the reds, 100. We are nearly done. And then paint away the yellow. Got to bring the opacity down on this one and just do it where the hat is reflecting onto the baby's skin. Just going to up the opacity. Just go down again. Alright, that's it. That's all I'm going to do there. Flatten. And then actions. So what you do is you select the crop tool and make sure the content aware box is ticked up here, and then rotate it round, and we don't want to miss any of this lovely like blanket, or it's a cheesecloth over the top of that. So I'm hoping that Photoshop will do a great job here of this. So now I'm going to bring this down, put him in the middle, and then click enter. Yep, that's pretty good. So duplicate the layer. I'm just going to go into filter, liquify, and it's just curved out a little bit. So down here you've got the zoom control, so I'm just going to come out and reduce the size, and then I am just going to straighten this a little bit up like that. Everything else is beautiful, so okay for now anyway. Okay, and same thing. Oops. Soft skin. 80% now. Now you don't want to just go straight over here because then we'll lose his expression. So obviously it's blurring this the skin. So I'm just going to do a little bit there. I'm just remove that. And then reduce the reds at 100%. Just across the eyes. This little tiny bit between the nose and the eye. And then under here, miss the lips. And then just his little fingers. Okay. Warm the skin tone, drop the opacity down. And I'm just going to, oops, take it over this bit here. that helps with the reds as well. It reduces the reds a bit more. Okay, and ta-da, flatten that. Then we'll do add depth, 100%. Lovely. Flatten. I'm going to run the reduce the reds again, 100%. Let's take it up under here. And his little fingers, side of his head there. Okay, and then flatten. Right, I am going to go back into use the liquify tool. So duplicate, liquify. I'm going to see if the swirly thing will just whiz his face around for me. So we've got to be more on the left hand side. And then I'm just going to take this little hat down just a bit. Stop his head looking ginormous. And then just bring this bit down. And then just bring his nose over just a little bit. Okay, so let's see before and after. Yep, that's good. Alright, flatten. Command L. Brighten it. And then file save. Move this here, it's a little bit distracting, so I've just used the clone tool, and I need to fix it a little bit more, so I'm going to do the patch tool, just select the area and then find another area which is similar. Okay, that's fine. Right. Command S to save, and then we have this one. So we straightened the bed up in Lightroom, but we need to do a little bit of work on this one, so I'm just going to duplicate the layer, filter, liquify, and I'm just make sure I'm on this one here, the pushy tool, and then I'm just going to bring it up like this, just make it a little bit more round. There's this one too, the squidgy one, so we can take them in here. Like that, and also I'm going to push this curly blanket in a bit. So it's just a bit too wide, just needs a bit of straightening up. Okay, and then his face is wonky, so even that's just helped a little bit. And then just going to do his nose a touch. And just going to bring this hat over. And down. You can also go into the face tool and bring this part down as well. So let's have a look at before and after. Alright, I'm going to do this one, and I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. Yeah. And then I'm just going to move it all over to the right. Like that. Alright. I will try the twisty tool. Right, let's have a look before and after. Alright, let's go with that. Okay. and then flatten. I'm going to duplicate the layer. Oh, I'm going to select this bottom section here, and I'm going to Command C, Command V to copy that section. So now it's here, and now I'm going to push it up. Okay, just make that bottom part of the bed sort of disappear a little bit. It was quite long. Now we were messing a bit under here, so I would just use the patch tool like that, and then I will use the crop tool, make sure it's on front image, and then zoom it up like that. And then if we want to increase the size around the baby of the woods, do content aware, and then see how it does. There's quite a lot going on with that backdrop, or the floor drop, so we'll see what it does. Not too bad. Just here, it's a bit dodgy. So for that area, I would probably use the clone tool at 100%. I'm going to duplicate the layer just in case I make a mistake, and then Alt to select a sample area, and then I will just go over like this. So I think I have to have a look and see what it was like before. Okay. I don't know what it was like before. Alright, let's keep going. So it's not looking great. I'm just going to leave it. Okay, then we can go in here and see his little face. And whoops. Complete baby quick fix. Soft skin, down a bit to about 80% around there. Go over, down his cheeks. Same old, same old. Just go over his little finger there. Then reduce the reds 100%. Just remember to, well, I mean, it comes down to personal preference, but I like to leave the cheeks as they are. And I'm not going to do warm the skin tone, and I'm not going to do anything else there. I'm just going to add some depth. I'm just going to actually zoom in here and see if there's anything I need to remove. Add some depth, which is here. 100%, yep. That's great. I will use my deep blotch. Just to blend that little area in there. It's quite good for using it on other areas as well, like this. Right, and flatten. Zoom out so we can see what's going on. Multiply the layer, Command L, and there we go. And flatten and file save. All right. before and after. Okay. I'm going to flatten. Sometimes I have to come back out to see what's going on. So I'm just going to go back in. Filter, liquify. This is the bottom bit down here. It's just still leaning. No, it's the bottom bit. So kind of. Right. So whilst I'm in here, because I don't want to touch the outside of the bucket, so I'm going to click this tool here, which puts this red mask on, which means that the brush will, even if I go over it, it means that it won't affect it. So I'm just going to go like that, and then that means I'm a bit freer to move everything over. Okay, shall we have a look? Yep, I think that's about as good as I'm prepared to make it. Otherwise I'll just be here for ages and ages and ages. Right, so before and after. Now it's a nice picture. Okay, so flatten. And you see we've got this different colour here. So what I'm going to do is select the selection tool and I'm just going to highlight or select that area. So obviously it's gone over some of the emerald green wrap. Alright, select that. And now I'm going to select the adjustments layer, and I'm going to click on hue and saturation, and then we're going to try the greens, see if that will work. So let's just see. Nope. We'll try the yellows. It's more likely to be the yellows. Okay, alright, so it's round about there, and then just take away the saturation, or lighten it or darken it. Let's see, it's probably about there. Alright, let's zoom out and have a look. I'm just lightening it now. Okay, you just don't want it to be obvious. And then if you've missed any little areas, then you can just select your brush, 100 opacity, and then just using the small brush, just come into these little sections here. Okay. And flatten. And then I'm just going to see if I can use the spot feeling tool across here to see what it does. Okay, that's fine. You can even just keep going now. So multiply, filter, liquify. It's like click my fingers, and then there's a little ball where his head is actually in the middle. Oops. Right, so this tool here, let's hope it doesn't take too long, because this is the last one. So sorting the wrap out is easy, it's the head that is tricky. Right, oh my lord, right, let's add some width. Okay, so far before and after. This is a problem. It's the only time he smiled and I literally just leant over him and just took the shot. Right, I don't want to remove his smile, so this is why it's tricky. So I'm going to use the mask tool and do that. And then try and move his nose over. Oh no. Right. Alright, let's remove that now. Let's see before and after. Well, you know, it's looking better. Now we're going to try this spinny wizzy tool, see if we can turn his head around. I think it's going to be too hard. So I'm just going to because you know this would be the one that the parents want. And then just get these little pinkies up a bit higher. Okay. Well, regardless of whether the fact that it is, you know, not perfect, it is definitely a lot better than it was. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna, so this is before and after. I'm gonna save it here, and then I am going to flatten. I'm going to Control C, Control C, Control V, and try this. I mean, you don't really want to be doing all this, but I'm going to just leave it as it is, because otherwise I'll just be here all day. Right, now, the finishing touches. Now we have got a slight colour difference between here and here, so I think I'm going to make this teal colour more like this one, which is like a forest green. So I will select the area. You don't have to do it this way, but that's the way I do it. Select the area, and then adjustments, hue and saturation. We need, it could be cyans or it could be greens, so let's try the greens to start with. Yeah, so let's do cyans. Okay, so start again. And just going to reduce the saturation. That should do the trick. Okay, so let's have a look before and after. And colorize is there. Alright, this is better, so if we make a mistake then we can just switch brushes from white to black. Alright, so now we're going to head back to the greens, desaturate, make it darker. Alright, so now I will use the black brush to bring back just bring this wrap up just a bit. I'm going to leave everything else. I went over this bit by mistake. Okay, alright, let's have a look. Oops. Just make sure I went over the fingers a bit. Right, that's it. Make sure I didn't go over the head, the ear. Alright, so let's flatten that and let's look at the before and after. So before and after. Well, it's much better. I'm just going to crop it down by 8 so we can focus on the baby more, like that. And then I'm going to duplicate the layer, Command L. Oops, that was the wrong one. Command L. Oh, where are you? It's because I can't see it. It's so dark in here. Command L. And we can just brighten it by this much here. Okay. Command L just to see if it looks nicer darker. On the side. No, that's fine. Okay, so flatten. And Command S and close, and that's it. So let's have a look at our new images. So here they all are. So now what I would do is I export them over into Lightroom, and then I create black and white copies, then save it back into this same folder on my iMac, and then I've got colour and black and white images, and then I title them after that. So the file name will be August Nichols 13 days. So this is where I do it. Tools, batch, rename. So I have to select, I'm not going to actually do it, but I'll show you. Select all, Command A, and then tools, batch rename. So it would be August Nichols, oops, 13 days, underscore, and then start with 1, and then, you know, obviously it depends how many images you've got, but I've got 20 here, or maybe 19, 20, so we only need 2 digits, and then I'd click rename. So then all of the files will be, I'd only do this after I've exported the black and whites over into this folder, and I do the file name changing via Bridge. Okay, so we'll cancel that, and there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry it went on forever and ever, but you know, I'm actually interested to see how long it took me, because right from beginning to end, Lightroom and Photoshop, to see how long it took me to edit 20 images. Right, well, bye bye, and I'll speak to you soon.